Right, hello, I'm Robert, and this is my friend and mentor, Julie. Julie, we're going to talk about finding your own way to heal and finding your own way forward. Why don't you tell us in a few short sentences your journey to this?
Yes, thank you, Rob. Yes, my journey to this, it started in about the year 2000 when myself and my husband were trying to have a baby, and we learned that we had unexplained infertility. So that doesn't give you a lot to go by. So I personally just pursued a whole host of going to various practitioners to find out what could be wrong with me and how to get pregnant. That sent me on that journey. At the same time, I just wanted something relaxing to do as well, and I started going on a beauty course. Beauty didn't agree with me too much. It was fine to start with, but from that I found out about massage. So I've been a massage therapist for many years, but that was the thing that also led me into what we're doing now, and leading me into more of that kind of the spiritual world, more of the energetic side of healing, and all the other sort of, I'm going to say, multi-dimensional side of healing. That it seems to be the new way of looking at it now, and I agree. We can't describe what that means, but we'll move on from here. But things like working with massage, people would come to me and be crying, start crying about what they're doing. And I could see that physical ailments were a sort of kind of, there was a problem with the emotional or mental side rather than just the physical. And it was also in about 2015 when I was massaging somebody, so your room's quite dark. It was the very first time I actually saw intuitively a cord that somebody had attached to them. And I didn't even know what it was at that time. I just knew instinctively we had to start removing it and all its tendrils that it had. And that's in a nutshell, that's how it's led me to working with people more on a sort of spiritual level, an energetic level, multidimensional level, and working through things that just don't feel right for them, the missing, as we say, the missing pieces of the jigsaw. And that's sort of a big Pandora's box as well. So that's me in a nutshell. So how about you, Rob? How have you got to come here?
A little bit of what you've been through as well. I was brought up a perfectly normal little Protestant boy in the southern parts of Africa, and I did church and I got confirmed. I did all the standard stuff that I was required to do, always with a sense of dissatisfaction, and that something was missing. So I would say even as a teenager, I started questioning and looking for other realities. And I went down every possible rabbit hole you could think of at that age, and there are plenty to go down. But I grew and I grew and I grew just by reading and learning. Got to a point where I started following modalities, and many people go looking for modalities because they want help. So they want quick help and they don't understand what they're looking for. I went in wanting to help. So I went in and trained in modalities, be it theta healing, be it Reiki, because I felt that I was here to help people. So my entire goal since I was a kid has been how do I help other people? And in so doing, how do I help myself? And in fact, it was finding you when I was looking for a piece of my own personal jigsaw that led me to develop this work further. And here we are today.
Definitely, Rob, definitely. Yeah, and what I've found is what's so lovely to work with you is that it's seeing you flourish and grow in a couple of years, we've worked together.
Yeah.
This is, led me, even more knowing my path in life and, my purpose and my mission, to see people flourish, to help people until they're expanding and expressing themselves, and knowing where they're going, know what mission they're on. And that could be something completely different, whilst it's essentially the same thing going, can be different but the same in terms of how we want to help people. So it's lovely to see, you've flourished like that, and some of the places we've got to.
It's been amazing, absolutely amazing.
We can talk about that in another time.
In another episode, or many other
another
episodes.
episode.
Yeah. I think what we want to talk about today is the expectation people have is that other people will fix them, and our
Yes.
understanding that the fixing happens within.
Absolutely, yeah. This is from our, both our journeys. Me,
Yeah.
I realised the old paradigm, and we can say it's even the current world in some people's worlds. I want to say not my world anymore, but we've got this old paradigm of something's not working in me, or I'm physically in pain, I've got this chronic condition. And we completely kind of staying in this version of us that is always, I need to look at this, or this might help, and oh, I've heard about that person, they might help me. So you keep going to all these practitioners, or you're reading many books, or you're looking at many videos, and it's nothing against any of those, and there's no judgment. We also said here, we're in a world now where there should be no judgments about anything. It's all an observation. So this is our observation, and I was the same, and even sometimes now I get into the rabbit holes now of being the same, and looking for things outside of me. But definitely, Rob, one of the biggest things we can say to people is your own true healing just comes from your own sovereignty. Your own physical healing comes from things within you, the other sides of how we want to move beyond just this humanness and the human vessel that that is the human body.
Yeah.
That can honestly takes its toll, doesn't it? It does get thrown about a bit, is what we call it in this world. But as soon this is what I want to talk about, really, this looking within. But we might need to explain a little bit about what we mean by looking within, because I know
I think so.
know
Yes.
lots of people, because of the conditioning we have, we've always looked, this is part of it, the conditioning that we've had through even through our ancestral lineage, part of our ancestry. We don't know how to look within because we've never been taught it. So how would we know how to do it? But what we want to say is don't avoid it. That's the other thing. People can tend to avoid it. Oh, you've told me to look within, but I'm going off to a, maybe a psychic, a card reader or whatever, because that might actually help me more than me going within. And we want to say to you that whilst that will help with whatever you need to know about, going within allows you to know and dictate what your future is, and dictate what you want in this life now. Have you any thoughts on that?
I think that's key, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
What do you want? And without going into any detail, do you have a soul contract to fulfill on this particular journey? And that's another discussion for another time, I think.
It is.
But most of us, and certainly me, and I'm quite sure you, have spent a long time thinking I'm missing something.
Yes, missing pieces of the jigsaw. Yes.
Absolutely. And
yes.
I'm not in a bad place necessarily, but I'm not living my full life. And it's because I'm not putting that last piece of the jigsaw in, or the last pieces of the jigsaw, because quite often it's a journey and there's a few.
Yeah, but, definitely. This life, this, purpose in life, to me, in two simple words, life fulfilled, a life fulfilled. And that's what we're missing this, this filling, we've got missing this filling. What does fulfilled mean to me? What it means to me is not necessarily what it means to you, Rob, and anybody else. What does that mean to me? What is that fulfillment? When will I be fulfilled?
Absolutely. I think it's important as well. A lot of people then will say, oh, I can't just think about me. That's too selfish. I've got a family. I've got whatever. And it's not about being selfish. It is about being self-present.
Absolutely.
And, if you can, exactly. And if you can achieve that, then everyone in your circle grows with you and, comes along to some degree on your journey, because your frequency changes.
Yes, absolutely. Something else that we can talk about, if people are a mirror to you, and the other side of that is people will reflect your healing. As you heal, you create a ripple effect to all your family in the first place, which is the main thing. You also create a ripple effect in the world as well. This is why we understand now, this is our, for you and me, Rod, this is in different ways. This is our mission. We want to, to help the world, as it were, whether that's one person at a time or one group at a time.
Yeah.
And we know that, just helping just those few people will create this ripple, and being able to tell people all the things that we've found out or know about to date through the work that we've done. And it was, I don't know about you, Rob, but it felt like a lot of work for me. I had to do a lot of, let's call it, inner work and work within, to find that, find some of the things I'm understanding now out. So I think, we do need to know that, being selfish, once again, I see it as a conditioning, that you're not supposed to look after yourself, instead of the new paradigm of when you look after yourself, the ripple effect, takes place. We'll do ancestral healing. So as you heal yourself, as you heal all your ancestors, your family members can act differently, be differently around you, and want to do different things, and be a family fulfilled, a happy family as things progress. And this is why we need to show people what truly maybe thinking yourself as being selfish if you're going off to heal yourself shouldn't be that's just something that's part of your paradigm.
Absolutely. Talk to me a minute about how this can impact the physical body in terms of healing as well, because we know it's hugely beneficial.
Well, if we look at somebody who might be in physical pain, or has, let's look at, specifically some form of chronic condition, maybe like an autoimmune system. And before we move on, we'll do a disclaimer that we're not
medical practitioners.
We're not medical. No. This is, for entertainment purposes only. And, we're not telling anybody to do this instead of, going and seeing the doctor. But these are our thoughts from what we've, experienced and what we've seen. So looking at either physical pain or, chronic conditions, autoimmune system, your body would never, work against you if it was, in all its possibilities. Your body is an innate vessel. It's beautiful. It works to heal you. And so we think about, if something is not right, it's more to do with, is there something that's blocking you? So just an odd example, one example for me is when I start going on the wrong path of my purpose, and I think about doing the things that are more in line with what people expect of you, and I go, I don't work on purpose, my body behaves in a way I'm constantly ill. And that's been happening. It's not so much now because I've worked around it, but many years ago I was struggling with ill health, nothing too serious, nothing life-threatening, but a lot of feeling lacking of energy problems. And then you start to work on purpose, and then you start to look at, this is the way I want to go. Even this year, I don't know if it sort of means anything to anybody, but even at the beginning of this year, as I started to I opened my membership, and there maybe only be 5 people on it, but I thought, no, I'll carry on with this. I knew it was given to me from the guides, and it felt so good. And I actually, at the beginning of this year, lost 2 stone from, through this year, have lost 2 stone. So even things like gaining weight and then losing weight can be to do with, are you actually truly working on purpose? And this doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. This is about just starting to move in the right direction. All of it's about starting to move in the right direction. So things with autoimmune might simply be, have you got lots of emotions, things that are blocking you, all these conditions of things, like a big one is, I'm not good enough. So you might want to go on a path of your purpose, like get another job, for instance, or open your business. And if you're there saying, I'm not good enough, I just don't know if I'm worthy, and you might not say those words, but the worthiness is another big one. And so you continue in a job that you just really don't like, for instance. And that's what wears you out, and that's what continues in you. You've got all these emotions, because we can't see them in material, in a 3D matter. We all know emotions are there because we've all felt certain emotions, and these emotions will just stay in the body until we can express ourselves and we can release them. So this might be getting another job, or this might just simply be unleashing a childhood trauma. Anything, could be anything to do with that. And then, your body starts to do different things, because it now starts to be able, it enables it to communicate, enables every cell to communicate with each other. So that's just sort of a basic analogy of it.
No, indeed, I'm completely with you. Now, let's say I'm listening to this podcast and I'm thinking to myself, my life isn't perfect, it's not bad, but I'm missing something. How should I go about finding that something? Because it's our belief, of course, that something is already in you. You
Exactly.
just have to locate it and reawaken it.
Yes.
So
yes.
what should I do then if I'm trying to find something?
Definitely, it is this. We talked about going within. We've talked about this already. Going within. Well, what does that really truly mean? And
Indeed.
This is where we need to. You almost need to begin unplugging yourself. Let's call it. Unwinding yourself from all the chaos that's going on outside, and really think to yourself, what is it I want? A lot of the things that we're finding missing jigsaw pieces, if you like, are because we're really fulfilling somebody else's life, or we're fulfilling, a societal role in life. What does everybody else think we should do? So here we are. Let's start by, just looking within. What is it I want? And although we don't want to call it a meditation, you almost have to just maybe close your eyes and just think of things yourself. What you can also do, if you're not very keen on just sitting there, is, you do this a lot, don't you, Rob? Go into nature, just go for a walk and go into nature. That's a beautiful way, because every single person within has this pulse, has an energetic signature. So it's like we have our own frequency. Is that explaining it in a good way?
I think we should explain frequency, perhaps. And
yes.
We could start with a basic scientific frequency that we vibrate. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency. So the table vibrates at a frequency to support my computer. My chair vibrates at a frequency to support me. But what does my soul vibrate at? And what's the correlation between my physical vibration and my spiritual vibration? And how do I equalize them or bring them closer? So how would you explain frequency? Because it's one of those words we use.
We use it, it's bandied about a lot, isn't it, without really knowing. Yes. And I agree, Robert. Our soul, our human vessel, to me, is a form of expansion or expression of our soul. We are just, the human vessel almost is like this tiny piece in the whole of our soul's existence, with all other bits going on. And we found that out, haven't we, Robert? The other aspects of us going on. Again, for another, great for another podcast. But when you start understanding that, that our little human vessel is little, but at the same time is so important and such a big thing, because our human vessel is where our consciousness, where we understand our consciousness is at the moment. And so where soul is singing her or his song, or its song, however you want to say it, our human vessel comes through originally with its own sovereign field. Everything is sovereign. Everything is for Julie. It's Julie as this, soul coming down with, fantastic life and everything going on about it. But then what happens with this frequency? It gets, kind of gets distorted. So this beautiful frequency, soul singing her, you know, signature song that creates this frequency which vibrates and creates all the molecules, all the atoms go into molecules that create, da-da, Julie, the human vessel, the matter. You know, again, we have to think about, you know, even matter has been created from this beautiful frequencies. You know, frequency kind of, if you want to say it's spinning in a certain way, and da-da, here's Julie. And then you get the frequency that then might distort Julie, you know, lots of things going on. So frequency can be something like somebody saying to you something with, you know, so I always want to describe the thing of, you know, somebody saying, I'm sorry. You can either go, I'm sorry, or I'm so sorry, you know, which frequency actually is a meaning. And it's the same with other things. So we can have a frequency that creates a very low vibe, you know, movement, you know, so something like being in fear all the time. So this is particularly where we do look out to the outside of us. So we start thinking about, you know, I'm fearful of this, I'm fearful of that, and start resonating with a frequency that's vibrating very, very slowly. And so it's not giving us enough energy to build up, if you want to say it like that, in that kind of frequency. And therefore, what we should get to is a frequency, we always want to say love or anything above that. There's a faster frequency that helps us. So faster frequency will give us more energy. So low frequency, sluggish, less energy. Faster frequency, you know, high energy. So high and low. So you get the low vibration, low vibes, high vibration, high vibes. All, you know, we can say at this point connected with frequency.
Yeah, brilliant. So what if I want to identify that missing jigsaw piece in myself? Should I get help? Should I ask
we're not
some?
saying yes. Now then, we're not saying in this respect, you know, we've maybe said about getting, you know, all the answers do come from within, but this, we are never, you know, one of the things I found out from, you know, from my guides is we should never do all this on our own. This does not mean to say you rush to the next practitioner where everybody's saying, oh, this practitioner's, yeah, this is what I was doing. Oh, this practitioner got me pregnant. This practitioner got me pregnant. Well, because they probably had some different issues to me. So it's not about not going to a practitioner, and that's absolutely fine. But it's going to a practitioner, but with a viewpoint, with a kind of another, view on things of, what's this practitioner actually helping me with? Are they looking at all the things, you know, all the things here of, you know, that let's call it the multidimensional viewpoint, or are they just going, I'm just going to look in your energy field at your chakras? You know, that's not the only, you know, chakras aren't the be all and end all of everything. There are other things as well that we know now and we've found out in the body. And also with other practitioners, the old paradigm, and this is just an observation, and very much all the courses I've been on in the past, millions of courses, you know, course junkie here.
Yeah.
Like you, Rob, as well, looking for the, you know, the holy grail, which is not on the outside, is it? Which is, again, something within. You know, you see that these courses are beautiful, but they just do one thing, or it might be it's somebody's mission to use that, but it wouldn't have been mine. So we look at discerning. You know, what course do I go on? What you know, sort of practitioner do I go to? Or is it something where you can just get a group of people together, a group of friends, or, you know, the people in your sort of other, you know, the peers together, and just help yourself? Because going back to the what my guide was showing me and what it feels so right is we need to go back to developing communities, so, and proper communities. This is why I like doing my membership. You know, not just a community that's from kind of like the false you know, the false way of thinking, the old paradigm, but a community where everyone shares things and everyone helps each other. And even just being part of that community stops us being that, you know, in that stops us being lonely, because I do find a lot of us, I don't know whether this affected you, Rob, but you know, at school, I felt lonely. I felt the odd one
Yeah.
out. Spent most of my time on my own. Did have friends outside of school, so that was lovely. Just a few. One of my friends I've had since I was 5 years old, still a friend now. You know, but nothing. You know, we have loads and things in common, and then we have none of this in common.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, then there's other things where, as I've asked, as you set the intention to go, hang on a minute, I don't want to be in this old paranoia. I don't want to just be asking, what's this? What's, you know, where do I go for the next form of healing? I want to set this strong intention. I want to be this new version of myself. What is the version of myself that would be healed in whatever way you want to be healed? What is this version of myself going to look like, feel like, be like, do like? That's a good starting point to allow soul to start, you know, helping you become your sovereign being, to have, you know, start helping you discern, and to start bringing in synchronicities where you meet new people. It might be that you have to drop, you know, I've had to drop, you know, people that I thought were friends and things. That's just dropped by the wayside, because if you go back to frequency, if your frequency is here and somebody doesn't match it, it doesn't resonate, it no longer exists in your world. That's a really good one to look at.
Indeed.
And so things might drop away. And so, you know, in a new frequency, in a new version of yourself, which is simply just spinning in a different way, in a high way, is people will just start coming to you, or synchronicities will happen. It might be that you simply, you know, you're getting that new job, and, you know, you just see it in, you know, sort of online, you just see that new job and you just know it's meant for you, or you know you're meant to apply for it, because it might be that job that goes into that application falls into something else, and you've always got to be faithful. And I think is having faith in yourself, not in anybody else, not in anything else higher, but within, in yourself. That have faith of your own soul, because you are your soul in that way. I've talked about us being an extension and expression of soul, but ultimately I like to say we're soul as well.
Absolutely.
You know, so soul only wants the best for you, but soul has to take a back seat when we're in fear, because we can't hear. We just cannot hear and can't listen to soul when we're in fear.
Yeah.
So
I would say as well, looking back at my journey, I don't know if I want to call it a journey. It's a bit, but anyway, you know what I mean by that.
We've looked at now, you know, sort of a journey when you're ever going to get to the destination.
Exactly. But all the key moments in my life, spiritual moments, I would say, have come in tandem with life change moments.
Yes.
Be it moving countries, being ending relationships, whatever they are, has all come with a kind of spiritual upgrade that I didn't ask for, just came. Which has built and built and built to the point where I then started to look for it and ask for it.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth people who are listening to this looking at their own lives and going, when did things externally go wrong, but internally you were being propelled in the right direction? There's always reasons for this. I was a weird kid growing up. I conformed externally. Internally, I was absolute rebel. And anybody who knew me thought I was really quite a strange kid, because I was always asking, always looking, always thinking about new things and not accepting.
I think you relate to a lot of people. We all, you know, I felt somewhat like that. Yeah,
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, all of us sad little humans on this planet are all traveling a fairly similar journey, you know, with different degrees of success and luck and failure. But it's all got purpose if you explore it.
Yes, it has.
You know,
it was all for a reason.
Yeah, you know, if you come out of a marriage, you can look at that and go, oh, Lord, my marriage failed, I failed. You know, your marriage had a purpose while it lasted. The end of it was for a purpose, and your future after it is again for that purpose.
Yes.
And you can apply that to anything in your own life, you know, lost job, whatever.
Yes.
You know, everything has reason.
Yeah, definitely. I've been made redundant, I've lost jobs, and they've been the best thing ever. And you can look back at, even my very first job, Rob, in the NHS, you couldn't be made redundant in those days. This was in the late 80s, I think, so we're looking a long time ago.
Yeah.
But my job became a job at risk, and so but it was a job I wasn't particularly. I just got into it because I got no qualifications at school and thought, not good enough, all these things.
Yeah.
Had to go into this totally other department that became the IT department. I remember the first time we had one computer between six of us. Long gone are those days.
Yeah.
But that just made me. From there, I did, they asked if I could do, BTech, and then I did a degree and all sorts. That made me, and became sort of in that role, well, I got other roles from that. And believe it or not, became a database administrator, of which some of the work I've been doing with the guides, our DNA is a database. So all the knowledge I got from, when I was 20 onwards, for the 20 years I did it, from 20 to 40, or whenever it was, just that, all of that, like you, Rob, it was just all so leading you up into these last few years of then being awake, because I wasn't what I'd call awake then. I wasn't aware of soul as such, or any of that sort of thing, and until my mid-30s, I think, when somebody told me about Reiki at the time and things. But that got me into the other side of things. Then it's only in the 2014 I was probably looking into soul and being awake. But then I realized all the things I've been doing is just leading me up to to what I'm doing now, and a lot of it I can see that it was just so, everything was so useful for me now. And I see a lot of people like that, a lot of people who are a lot of us are very over analytical and very overthinking. So you've got to use it wisely with what we do now. Otherwise you'd overanalyze what we're doing. You would think about looking within too much, like, what does this mean, what does this, instead of just doing it, just go and do it. Just go and touch a tree, go in the countryside, nature, go and touch a tree and see what you feel. If you don't feel anything, go and do it again the next time, and it's absolutely fine. We always say
it's
about
really
this.
Sorry, go on. You were going to say.
We always say about this, don't we, Robert? It's a learned, like you and me. It's not something I picked up in an hour. It's not something I can do now, because I did it sort of in an hour a few years ago. I get, I had a lot of clients, I don't get them now, but in the past, where I think they thought they could just come to 1 or 2 sessions and they'd be able to do the things, like I would, without actually really putting the work into it. And it's not hard work, it's work that feels like you're not doing work. So there's a difference. It's not saying, you need to work hard at it. You just need to do a lot of it, and think about it so that it becomes a way of life. This is more of a way of life than, I just spend an hour a day doing meditation and then spending the rest of my days doing living in the old paradigm. No, it becomes new because it becomes a way of life.
Yeah, let's take work out of the equation. Let's not call it work anymore.
Yeah,
because then that implies, I've got to go and work now.
It does. It does.
We'll have to find a new way of saying work. But for me, it's just self-exploration and self-expression.
Yeah. Oh, they're good.
Just letting it be. So I've never thought of it as work.
That's really good.
Yeah, I think, if I think, I should meditate now, you can be guaranteed it won't work.
Yes, true.
It's 8 a.m. This is my meditation half hour. Absolutely, I might just as well go and make a coffee.
Yes.
It'll be more beneficial. But if I have quiet time and meditation seems right, then I'll meditate. Or do self-work, however you call it, what you will, and then it works. So people, I think, shouldn't beat themselves up about having to work to a schedule. And again, I said work, so it's not work. It's about your own fulfillment. And there's not an ounce of work in that for me. It's just joy.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. I mean, literally, almost in a way, I got hooked on it, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. It's just
Yeah.
because it gives you, because you'll find when the more you do it, the more you find you're getting more out of it. I mean, and you're absolutely right, Rob. The times you go, right, okay, I'm going to sit and meditate, it doesn't work like that.
No.
But what you might do is you just be either out and about, or you'll be, I don't know, washing up or something, and something huge will come to you, and you have an overwhelming, sense of, I've just got to sit down and think about this. And that's maybe when you get, information coming through from your intuition. You got to go with it right there and then. And
You do indeed. You have to be open.
Times, yeah,
And
open.
allow these things to happen. The minute you close down, then spirit can't reach you.
You can't hear,
because you've intentionally blocked it out. But if you just keep yourself as open as you can, and you can't do it all the time.
No.
But you can practice being more open in every aspect of your life. Whether you're commuting on the tube or driving, or whether you've gone out for an evening, whether you're with friends, you can consciously open yourself.
Yes,
and allow experience to come. All part of the journey.
Yeah, definitely. That journey. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it does. It's just a way of being able to, be that all the time. When we say all the time, you don't have to do it, you can switch off it when you go to sleep. Don't have to be, if you've got some human things to do, it's not going to always come up. There are still things that we as humans, got to go through at this moment in time. That might all change in a new earth. But it literally is just becoming this new way of life, rather than thinking, overthinking it, of how you do it. Just make a start, just make the statement, make the declaration yourself, is what I'd say. Because I think inadvertently it's probably what we did, Rob. I mean, I did when I said, right, I'd like to look at this more. What is going on, with, I don't know, my clients with massage, what's going on in myself each time. And then you found it, when you've actually asked the question, this ask and it will be given, as we want to say, you do start getting, ways of helping, and ways of meeting new people to open yourself up even more, don't you, Rob? So
you do indeed. And wouldn't it be amazing if someone listening to this somewhere in the world started their own journey?
Yes, this is what we love.
You and I were saying just before we started recording, wouldn't it be amazing if someone took this up and flew past us?
Yes.
That would be the most exciting thing, if someone just zapped on the fast lane.
Yes.
Who knows?
Definitely.
Who knows what's possible? But you have to start.
You do have to start. Yeah. I mean, I said about, I've just thought about this, me saying somebody, you can't always expect to do it in an hour or two, but somebody might, if you're in that, sort of somebody with not knowing, with a higher frequency in that way, within an hour could suddenly start exploring all sorts of things with their consciousness. So, again, we'll go through what consciousness is, but, so literally our consciousness can take us as far as far as we want to go, and then we can understand and bring it back into our humanness of how, what we do with things. So somebody out there is can go way beyond what they think. That is, my mission. That's my mission fulfilled.
Mine too. Just
for somebody just to take this up and just fly, absolutely, go racing, fly with it, and and getting everything they want. With this new paradigm is about getting everything we want. All the other things are around the old paradigm is around the conditioning that you can't have it. And just if we can just tell people that, if we can just tell people that, what is it you want, and you can have it, and you don't have to have all these, I would do it, I would go there, but I would do this, but I've got to wait until, but I'm never ready, I don't feel ready. All of that, is just false. It's just a false
out the door.
You'll never be ready. You'll never be ready to do it. That's the truth. So you just do it. Like you say, Rob, whatever you want to do, just go do it. Even if it's just baby steps, it doesn't matter if it is baby steps, but just just do it. Whatever it is you're working towards, or I never go say working again, but thinking towards.
Yeah.
Stop thinking and just start
Absolutely.
being and start doing.
The key word for me as well is trust.
Yes.
Just trust yourself.
Yourself. Yeah.
Big thing there. Huge thing for people to actually accept that they can trust themselves.
Yes.
Never mind others, but themselves.
Yeah, definitely. We find a lot of this where people are trusting other people, aren't we? They're not discerning. One of the other things we can talk about is, how to be discerning, because this whole world, is still full of fear and full of how to stay small in yourself, how to not express yourself. And the new paradigm here is to just, what I would say is just break yourself away, just come away from all of that, be discerning, even in the spiritual world. I mean, I want to say now, I don't, in a way, I don't care, don't just trust what we're saying. Hold it in, hold it. Is it a yes, no for you? Discern, does this feel right for you? Does this, what we're saying, does this feel true, with your soul, in alignment with your soul? Are the things we're saying of how to go about things?
If we're using words and phrases that people listening to this don't quite connect with or understand, or would like explained, drop us a line, leave a comment, however you want, and we will address that either directly, or we'll podcast about it and just help you understand the terminology. Because as you will understand as well, when you get on your own journey, you listeners, you'll start using these terms too, and people who aren't quite on the same wavelength can get confused and left out. Which is absolutely not our intention, because nobody should be left out.
No, absolutely not. Everyone is equal. Everyone, we're treating everyone as an equal.
Absolutely. It's a place of equality and absolutely zero judgment.
Yes.
Nobody's wrong, nobody's right. But here's opportunity for you. That's what we can offer, is opportunity to find yourself.
Opportunity, potential, lots of potential if you open up. To it.
Lovely, Julie. I think we should wrap at that.
We should, yes.
And if anybody wants to contact us, there'll be a screen at the end of this, and there'll be our email address and our own websites. So anybody, please do reach out. You'll be more than welcome, and we will talk to you and help you as much as we can. So, Julie, till next time, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Rob.
That's been great.
Enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. That's a wrap.